Welcome back to Brandon Sports, everybody. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm here to go over my reaction to Super Bowl 60 between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. Before I get into my review, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more great content headed your way, share with your friends and family so we can help the channel continue to grow. Now, my overall thoughts before we get into the quarters and different things like that is this Super Bowl matchup this Super Bowl was boring. I'm going to be honest, I told you guys on this channel, I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm being genuinely honest because I have no dog in this fight. This game was boring up until the fourth quarter. Throughout the entirety of this game, it was 12-0 heading into the fourth quarter. 3 points in the first quarter by Seattle. 6 points on the 3 points. It's 12. Literally 12-0 until New England scores in the fourth quarter, and then the Seahawks come back and score. And now they're just going back and forth in the fourth quarter. The kicker for the Seattle Seahawks hit 5 field goals. I lied to you not. I lied to you not. 5 field goals in this game. And I'm sitting here, and I told you guys in my predictions, I'm sitting here like, is this game, which I told you guys going to be a defensive game, but is this game going to be reminiscent to, if you guys remember, it was the Rams versus the Patriots, and the game ended 13-3 because you had the number one defense in the NFL at that time with the Patriots going up against the number one offense in the NFL with the Rams and Jared Goff in that Super Bowl. And in that Super Bowl, that defense did its job, but Tom Brady and that offense didn't do their job, and they scored 13 points, and that Super Bowl was boring and it was awful. And I said, this game is going to be a defensive game, and if Drake May can't convert going up against the Seattle defense, that the New England Patriots defense is going to be out there for a very, very long time, and they were going to get tired, and Sam Darnold will capitalize. But to their credit, they stayed in it the whole game. The Patriots defense stayed in it this entire game. Now, to me, it looked like they got a little bit tired, especially in that fourth quarter, because the 3 quarters for your defense to hold a team that's all-around great team to just 12 points, but you're not putting up numbers, can get frustrating for the Patriots defense again. In my review, when I gave you guys my game pick, I said this game is going to be heavily a defensive game, which I was correct throughout the entirety of the game. And my problem with this game was the New England Patriots left tackle, Will Campbell. My brother, you have got to move to right tackle. I don't know what you were doing. You weren't moving your feet. You were trying and you couldn't get. DeMarcus Lawrence was kicking you in your ass. That's exactly throughout this entire game. They was on you. Drake May got sacked 6 times in this game for 43 yards. I lied to you not. 6 sacks for 43 yards. This was an embarrassing performance by the offensive line. Yeah, you give Seattle's defensive line credit. I get it, fine. And the same thing, Sam Darnold was sacked 1 time, and a lot of their defense linemen for New England Patriots just could not get Sam Darnold. They were close. They were very close. They kept trying to grab him, kept trying to tackle him, but they just couldn't get him down until that sack, and I think it was like third or fourth quarter in which they sacked him. Again, was Drake May great in this game? No. Was Sam Darnold great in this game? No, he was not. And this entire game, if you look at both quarterbacks and say, which quarterback played better? The quarterback that didn't have any turnovers, you would say that's the answer. But the quarterback who threw for the most yards, who had the more touchdowns, yes, he had them 3 turnovers. He had 2 interceptions and a fumble, actually causing one of those fumbles to turn into a score and basically really get the game out of hand. But for me in this game, I give the credit nothing to but the Seattle defense. Seattle's defense in this entire game, Ernest Jones had 10 solo tackles and a tackle for a loss. Derek Cole had 2 sacks. Byron Murphy had 2 sacks. Riley Mills had a sack in his game. Devon Witherspoon had a sack in this game. So many tackles for loss by the Seattle Seahawks defense. This was just a masterclass in defense. And the Patriots defense did show up too. I'm not going to just push them to the side and act like they didn't show up. The Patriots defense did their job. It was the Patriots offense that didn't do their job. Now, I told you guys that Drake May has no excuses in this game, but the only excuse that you can say that I did line him up in my predictions was Sam Darnold really doesn't have an excuse because he has the better receivers, he has the better running game, he has the better, you would say, O-line, left tackle, I guess, because of Will Campbell's inability to just simply block. But for me, this game really showed you that Drake May has to get receivers next year. They have to go into free agency and go into this year's draft and get a free agent. If you try to trade for A.J. Brown, maybe. But Drake May now needs receivers. And yes, you could say if they would have wanted to have been a Cinderella story and stuff like that, whatever you want to call it. But again, for me in this game, Drake May was sacked a total of 21 times in his playoffs. 18 going into that second half of this Super Bowl. This Super Bowl was about Seattle's defense and their running game. It wasn't about the quarterback. Yes, he made a nice touchdown to the tight end and Barner. I told you guys, both teams had decent tight ends across the board if you look at them and compare them offensively on each player on these teams. But again, Sam Darnold for me just wasn't that impressive in his game at all. If you look at his numbers, he was 19 of 38, 202 yards, 50% completions, 5.3 attempt per throw. And you look at it, he only had one touchdown. Kenneth Walker, 27 carries for 135 yards and 5 yards per average on the carry. He was the MVP, which he got the MVP. If you guys didn't know, Kenneth Walker III got the MVP. And to me, Sam Darnold missed a lot of throws. There was some throws that, a receiver could have caught and could have dropped here and there, but it was a lot of throws that he missed where guys were wide open. He missed them. For example, here's the one thing that is very, very glaring about this game. And you can say with the raised eyebrow, what is going on? Jack Smith-Njigba, the offensive player of the year for the Seattle Seahawks and in the NFL period. He had 10 targets. He only had 4 catches for 27 yards. Cooper Kupp had 12 targets. He had 6 catches for 61 yards. Jackson Smith-Njigba had a nice catch and run in his game, but other than that, he didn't really do anything. His longest catch was for that 16 yards. He didn't do anything in this game, which I'm like, listen, Christian Gonzalez is going to have to be on him. Now, he did have one slant route where the other receiver came in the way. They kind of did a slant route for Jackson Smith-Njigba, and the other receiver kind of ran opposite of him. And I was like, man, why is Christian Gonzalez backing up? And then as soon as he's backing up, Jackson Smith-Njigba catches the ball. I'm like, man, you got to play man on that play because he's been doing a good job the entire game. Christian Gonzalez did a good job on Jackson Smith-Njigba throughout this game, but that one catch was like, damn, I know they look kind of tired when that play happened. But for me, again, you have to give Seattle's defense their credit. 6 sacks to this quarterback in this football game. And Drake May he fumbled the football. They returned it back for a touchdown. I mean, if you look at his stats, he was 27 of 43, 295 yards, almost threw for 300 yards, 6.9 average per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and again, he was sacked 16 times. I don't really go by quarterback rating, but I'll just read it to you guys. Drake May quarterback rating was 79.1, and Sam Darnold 74.7. And if you look at the QBR, which I don't count these, I'm just giving you guys information, 53 QBR for Sam Darnold and a 16.3 for Drake May. Again, he was sacked 6 times in this game. Will Campbell has to go to right tackle. This is not a joke. They have to draft another left tackle if this is how he's going to play. You have to move him. Don't be like the Cleveland Browns and have Jedrick Wills, who wasn't a left tackle, and he was a right tackle in college, and they moved him left tackle, and for 5 years they kept him at left tackle. They kept Jedrick Wills, the Cleveland Browns, at left tackle for 5 years when they knew he was not a good left tackle, and he was actually a right tackle. They should have done that. Don't make the same mistakes that the Browns made when they drafted Jedrick Wills. Again, now, could this be the same thing? A story like in Denver where Garrett Bowles wasn't really great his first year or second year. Then after that, he turned into basically an all-pro left tackle. Could it be this story? Absolutely. But if he doesn't get it together by next year and he's getting beat up, they got to move him to the right side. But be safe than sorry, and maybe you have to draft another left tackle maybe in the second round, maybe in the first round to get that 5-year contract, 4 years obviously with the 5th-year option. You're picking second to last in the draft anyway if you have a first-round pick. So again, if they do have their first-round pick, draft a tackle. Draft the one and just move Will Campbell to the right because we can't afford, if you're a Patriots fan, can't afford to have this guy be your left tackle in the future if he's going to just continuously get beat. I mean, he was getting beat, and I said in my preview predictions, this guy has to play the game of his life, and he did not. I'm not going to blame him on everything. Drake May was holding the ball for a little bit too long, but none of these receivers were getting open. If you look at Matt Collins, had 8 targets. He had 4 catches for 78 yards. Okay, he did fine. Demario Davis, 7 targets, 5 catches, 45 yards. Okay. Ramondre Stevenson had a lot of checkdowns. He had 5 targets. He had 5 catches, 40 yards and a touchdown. Matt Collins had a nice touchdown in the fourth quarter, when they were trying to get the game close, but it wasn't close at all. Stephon Diggs had 3 targets. He had 3 catches. A lot of these guys had their targets and they got their catches. Keyshawn Boutte was the one that had 5 targets. He only had 1 catch for 21 yards. Again, this team offensively did not show up. Is it all on Drake May? No. Could you put majority of the blame on Drake May? Yes. Could you put the blame on the offensive line? Absolutely. Could you put the blame on the receivers not getting open in this game? Yes. I told you guys, even though I picked the Patriots and I know I'm wrong and I don't have a dog in the fight, so I don't care about my pick being wrong. I mean, you do want to be right. But for me, this entire game was just defense. I told you guys that. Defense and defense. I didn't want it to be as bad as the Rams and the Patriots. And it was headed there. Even if it was 12-0, it was headed there. I'm like, man, if we don't get no scoring in this fourth quarter, my God, this is going to be one of the worst Super Bowls of all time. And that's actually what I want to title this video, the worst Super Bowl of all time. But because it came up in the fourth quarter, it was pretty much decent. So if you say on a scale of 1 through 10, how is the Super Bowl? To me, I would have gave it a 2 out of 10 if there was no scoring in the fourth quarter. But because the scoring went up, you have to give it a 4 out of 10. I went up by 2 points, but it was a boring Super Bowl. You could say, well, Brandon, if you love football and you love the game, then you're going to appreciate defense. I do appreciate defense, not at a Super Bowl juncture like this. When the world is watching, or the whole America is watching, or whatever it is, and you have a Super Bowl that's 12-0, a shutout in the first half of the game. You could do that in the regular season. You could do that on a Sunday night during the regular season, because there's a lot of games on Thursday night that are terrible. Sunday night games, except for about a couple of them, were horrible this year. Thursday night football was horrible this year. A lot of the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games outperformed, not ratings wise, but they outperformed a lot of the games that came on at night and in prime time, because the 1 o'clock games seem to just flow by more smoothly than the prime time on NBC on a Sunday night or a Monday night football game. It just goes a lot slower. So when you look at this game, I'm like, man, this game is doing the same exact thing that all of the regular season games do in prime time. It was super slow, and I get it, Super Bowl. Super Bowl's going to be a little bit more slow to commercials and all other stuff like that. I don't care about none of that. I care about the game. And when I'm watching this game, I'm sitting there just looking at the TV. I'm like, man, what are we doing? I know it's going to be defense, but give me 3 points. But the Seattle Seahawks, you have to give them their credit. When you take a team out of field goal range, this is what happens. They couldn't get no field goal range. I mean, Drake May had a nice, good first and second drive, or with the second drive that he had, but that first half was just a complete shutout and just total dominance. I do like dominance, not being a hypocrite. I do like dominance. I do like defense. I didn't want this game to be 41-38 or whatever the case may be. I still wanted it to be a score in the first half, just for the competitive nature of the game. It could have been 10-10. It was 9-0. The score could have been 10-10. Okay, fine. This team scored a touchdown in the first quarter. They scored a field goal in the second quarter. It's 10 points. This team scored 3 points in the first quarter, a touchdown in the second quarter. Now it's 10-10. And then you're tied up and going into the half. Then you feel there's a little bit more anticipation here. But this game, for what it was not a good game at all. Defensively, it was. You get, like I said, again, repeat myself, you give the Seattle Seahawks their credit, but it was just not a pleasant game to watch, especially for Drake May. Again, he's a young guy. His offensive line, he was sacked in most in playoff history behind Joe Burrow. A total of 21 sacks in the playoffs. I think Joe Burrow had like 25 or 26, if I'm correct by that, because he had 18 at the halftime total for the entire playoff run. But this is just ridiculous. This offensive line, the Patriots had to do something, and that left tackle, Will Campbell, is the primary reason. And Morgan Moses, listen, I get it, he's a veteran, but he's too old now. Morgan Moses, again, that right tackle, those two tackle spots, they're going to have to move Will Campbell to the right side, and Morgan Moses have to leave, and after he leaves, they're going to have to go get somebody else. I mean, Morgan Moses is 34 years old, going up against this Seattle Seahawks defensive line. He's 34 years old, and Will Campbell don't look like he's going to be a left tackle right now. I will move him, I'm going to repeat myself, move him to the right and go draft another left tackle, or Will Campbell has got to get it together at that left tackle position. He was absolutely awful in this game, and he was getting worked throughout this entire game. Again, do I blame Drake May? Yeah, but does he get all of the blame? No. If the Seattle Seahawks lose this game, Sam Darnold gets all the blame because he didn't play well. And for the New England Patriots, Drake May had 5 carries for 37 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 7 carries for 23 yards. So Drake May had more yards, but Ramondre Stevenson had 2 more attempts. Now, for me, I'm going to look at my notes here because I did write these stats down during halftime. I said, let me see what the stats going to be at halftime because I want to see how this game is going to come out. Sam Darnold at halftime was 9 of 22 for 88 yards on a 40% completion percentage. Kenneth Walker had 14 attempts for 94 yards in that first half. And Njigba had 7 targets and had 1 catch. That's when I knew he was basically going to be a non-factor the rest of the game. I'm like, you can't get him nothing, but the defenses play well again. Then you go to Drake May. He was 6 of 11, 48 yards, and completion percentage was 54%. And Stevenson had 7 carries for 23 yards. That means that his 7 carries for 23 yards in that first half, what did he do in the second half? And that was the problem right there for the New England Patriots. He had 7 carries for 23 yards in the first half. Remember, I wrote these stats down. I went on my phone and said, I'm going to write these stats down, go online and see what the numbers are. And Ramondre Stevenson having 7 carries in that first half and to get none in the second half was just absolutely crazy. Now, he did have some nice catches. If you look at his targets, again, 5 catches, 40 yards, and a receiving touchdown that he had in his game. He did well receiving the ball, but that running the ball, they just couldn't run the ball. They just could not. The New England Patriots just could not run this ball. Seattle's rushing, them rushing the ball was surprising to me because I didn't think they was going to be able to run the ball against this New England defensive line because, again, both defenses are great defenses, in my opinion. And I said, listen, it's going to come down to Sam Darnold taking advantage of New England and the fact that Sam Darnold not scoring throughout the entire 3 quarters. Everything in my prediction was right except for, obviously, my pick of the game. But Sam Darnold took advantage in some ways, not always, but the Seattle Seahawks, I shouldn't even say Sam Darnold. The Seattle Seahawks took advantage of the fact that Drake May couldn't get nothing going down the field, so he let Kenneth Walker just go and just basically rush and run because Sam Darnold couldn't do nothing that first half. They people are like, oh, Sam Darnold needs more protection. I'm like, Sam Darnold needs more protection, more time to throw the ball. Look at Drake May. He sacked 3 or 4 times in the first half alone. He fumbles the ball, and I'm sitting there like, man, get him some protection, not Sam Darnold. He didn't have a lot of time to throw the football. That was the difference. Sam Darnold didn't have a lot of time to throw that football. Drake May couldn't throw the football because the D-line was on him so much. Again, the entire game was boring up until the fourth quarter. And looking at the fourth quarter, I'm like, man, if Sam Darnold reverts back to his old ways and throws a pick, it's over. He throws a pick 6, they come back and score 2 touchdowns, throw a pick 6, then you're getting back into the swing of the game. But once Drake May, he tried to throw the ball, they popped him. Number 7 ran back for the touchdown. I was like, man, this game is over. It's out of reach. It's completely done. Again, the New England Patriots are here. They got here. Nobody expected them to be here. Nobody expected Seattle to be here either because I sure didn't. I expect New England. I expect New England to get to the playoffs, and I didn't expect Seattle to finish 4th in the division, which I was wrong about. Just because I thought the Cardinals would improve. Obviously, that was wrong about that. And the 49ers and Rams, I had the Rams win the division, which they did not win, but they were still good enough to be a great team. And you see Matthew Stafford won MVP. I had the 49ers finish in 2nd, but they did finish 3rd, and they were a great team without injuries, but they had so many injuries, but they still got it done. But that's not the point. But the point is for this game was nothing but defense. A defensive led game. And you have to give the Seattle Seahawks their credit. Now, as far as after this goes for Drake May, get him a better left tackle and get him some better receivers. As far as Sam Darnold goes, they're going to have to run this entire team back or maybe give him an extra payday or give him some more money because he won a Super Bowl with this team. So that was my reaction to the Super Bowl, guys. Hope you enjoyed my reaction. If you guys feel any type of way in the comment section, let me know. If you are a Seattle Seahawks fan, let me know in the comment section down below how you felt about this entire game. If you are a Patriots fan, let me know in the comment section down below how you guys felt about this entire game. If you're just a football fan and want to chime in the conversation, feel free to comment down below what you guys thought about this entire Super Bowl. Now, before I get out of here, I just want to say that now that the Super Bowl is over, the off-season is starting. March is free agency. April is basically the draft, and then the mini camps, everything starts back over again. Even though there's going to be no football, there's still going to be content coming up on the channel because we're going to start going over the offseason. We're going to start going over teams and their coaching staffs and their hires, and everything's going to come with it. So we got free agency in March. We got the draft in April. May is basically going to be rookie mini camp. June, mandatory mini camp for everybody. Then July, they get back off. Then August, it's all back here again. So up until this point, it was a good season. The entire NFL was a good season. Had its moments, had its ups and downs, but it was relatively a good season. The Super Bowl promotion, not so much. I'm being honest with you, not so much. But again, on the channel, you're going to see videos about teams and their off-season and what their progression is, their coaching hires and their free agency picks and their draft picks, everything that we're going to basically break down on the channel. So make sure you share these videos with your friends and family so we can help the channel continue to grow. Please remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to the channel for more great content headed your way. Until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl, even though I thought it was boring. Hopefully everybody else enjoyed it. Until next time, guys, see you real soon.